Hello. This is episode 12.0. Very, very significant year of my life. Very significant year. So I might have multiple episodes for sure in this one. So the one thing I remember is one of the first beautiful memories that I have in this year is um, um, I my birthday, the one birthday that I remember very very fondly because uh, my mother got me a very beautiful all white chudidar stitched. It was just like so pretty. So by this time my hair had grown a little longer. I didn't have this hairstyle. I had like a U cut, but it had grown a little longer. And I used to leave my hair open, and it was pretty long, like till shoulder length. And we went to Dayal's and got the material. My mom selected the material. Actually, it was white, almost like a white satiny crepe type of material with white self print, a little shine to it, metallic white. And then we got I remember selecting that, and then her selecting that, and then we got a churidar stitched. And because parents, my dad was in such a good position. Uh, During the birthday, I remember that all other kids used to give these small 5 paise chocolates. They were more like they were more like toffee actually, and some kids used to give the 10 paise chocolates, but. My dad, I used to always give eclairs. I was the only kid who gave eclairs in 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 school for my birthday handout, and everybody would wait for my birthday, and I also would wait to hand out the eclairs. And the eclairs were pretty expensive. They were actually 50 paise per eclair. It was a Cadbury eclair, and it was big, and it had toffee on the outside, and it had a little caramel filling inside. That used to be my favorite toffee for a very long time. So I used to hand those out, and I still remember that birthday where everybody complimented me. Everybody, like practically everybody, complimented me. My teachers, everybody, and I remember being very happy. The other thing, shortly after my birthday, the thing I remember is I went on a southern India trip to Bangalore, Mysore, and Uti with my mother, with my mother's college. So, so my mother was one of the chaperones. It was her college. So she and her, there was one more lecturer, she and one more lecturer, and there were a bunch of students. I would say about 25 to 30 students or B.Ed students, mostly boys, but there were some young women also. And my mother took me along with her. So, like you must have, if you remember, recall in, 5.0 or 3.0, whenever I went to trip with my dad or with my amama, it used to be so exciting thing for me. So this was the first kind of solo trip, as in just my mom and me. My dad was not there, my brother was not there, my sister was not there. It was just us, and I was really, really thrilled about spending that, mother-daughter time with her. So we went on a trip, and we went to Bangalore, Mysore, and Uti, and the this trip I remember so well. We went to Kunur also, and we had so much fun. And my mother, I noticed then how popular my mother was. So the students all really liked her, and she was a completely different person in that environment. She was completely in command. They were asking her, where to eat, what to do. And in the bus, she was organizing games and she organized all these positive games. I remember this one game where she said everybody has to pick any person from the bus and tell one good quality that they like about them. That was so positive. There was such a positive vibe. And that's what I appreciate about my mom. Again, like I said, I've only seen her crying like twice in my whole year, in my whole life. And not just crying, like whenever you see her, she's always smiling, she's always positive. She's never like, forlorn or low. Very, very rare. Like she's always no matter what's going on in her life, how much stress and tension she has, she's always smiling. She's always absorbing that. She's not like passing that on to others. Like she absorbs a lot of it on her own. So that is really admirable about her. So anyways, we went to Bangalore, and Bangalore, I was just struck. It's called the Garden City. So we went to all the gardens. There are a lot of gardens. I was just struck by how structured the traffic was, and we went to their Lok Sabha, their assembly bhavan, and it was so beautiful. And the traffic, more than anything, funnily, I remember back, and people won't believe me now because Bangalore traffic is supposed to be the worst traffic in all the metros in India, but actually it was the most regulated traffic that I had seen, and I'd been to a lot of big cities by then. So that was that. And then I'm eating, sorry. Then we went to Mysore. And Mysore, I was just wonderstruck by the Mysore Maharaja Palace. Really, really amazing. Really, really amazing. I remembered it as like some place that I wanted to go back to sometime with my own family and children. I've never been able to do it. I was never able to return, but it left a very big impact on me, because I was just amazed by, and it was working palaces. There's a section of the palace where the Wadiyar king still lives there, I think, and it was very beautiful. And then we went again at night and saw it lit up at night. It was just absolutely magnificent and fabulous. I think it's the prettiest palace I had ever seen. Not the biggest, but certainly the prettiest, yeah, for sure. Because it was so well maintained. I'm sure all other palaces were also that well maintained. Then we went to Ooty, and on the way there were so many eucalyptus trees, and I really, really enjoyed Ooty as well. So while going there, I remember this one incident. We stopped on the way because the boys and girls, they wanted to go to the bathroom. The quintessential bus travel bathroom question. So anyways, we stopped, and then they all went into the hills where those eucalyptus plants were, and it's very moist, and there's a lot of vegetation there, and it's kind of like a rainforesty type of atmosphere because Ooty is up in the hills. So when they went there, they came back and we started driving. Then suddenly one of them saw that his foot was bleeding profusely. And then he did not know, like something bit him or he scratched something. Then somebody else's foot was bleeding. Then he also did not know why it was bleeding profusely, like non-stop, like he was losing blood. Then somebody else checked their foot, and their foot had a plump leech stuck on it. The leech was sucking his, it has a suction. You can't take it off. You can't peel it off. It pains you a lot. It has a suction and just won't let go. And it gets plump very fast, I think, when it gets on you. Then everybody checked their feet, And out of the 25, 26 people, about 18 people had leeches. Either they were bleeding, where the leech had sucked their blood and fallen off, or they actually had active leeches stuck on their feet. And some girls also had it. The girls started screaming, 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 but they couldn't pull it off. They tried to pull it off, and it was hurting them. Luckily, I didn't go to the bathroom there, so I didn't have any leech stuck on me. Neither did my mother, but one of the other lecturers did. She was a lady. So I remember that incident, like, and I was, since then I'm so afraid to go into this, vegetation. God knows what is there in the vegetation, right? If you just think it's harmless because there are no active large animals like bear or tiger, but all these small critters, like, they can do you so much harm. So, but anyway, I think leech sucking your blood is actually purifying. People use it as, they actually put leeches on their body to purify their blood. So I think maybe it's not so harmful. But anyways, so we had to go to a local emergency room. We had to take a detour, and as a result, we reached Kunur very, very late because we took a detour, and then the local people, I think they're quite used to it. They said if you put something hot on it, it falls off. It can't bear the heat. So they took a candle or something, lit it, and put it on all these people's on the leech in the feet, and it fell off. Then they came back with all, like, and they said don't put a band-aid or anything, because when it sucks, like, it's like, eventually it stops bleeding. So anyways, they did some dressing on it, and they all came back. And then because of the detour, when we reached Kunur, and we're supposed to go to the Kunur Botanical Gardens, it is supposed to feature in a lot of movies. So unfortunately, it was closed because we didn't make it there in time. We were supposed to reach there by 4 p.m., but this happened, this whole detour, and by the time we reached there, it was 7 p.m. and it was closed. So I remember us sitting in the bus, and we were like, oh gosh, this is closed. And they were wondering what to do. And then next day, we spent some time in Ooty. And by this time, I think some strike or something happened, and all the hotels were closed. So it was all a college crowd. So we kept searching for hotels. And because they were college crowd, and also it was a subsidized college, like, it not very wealthy people came there. So they were trying to stay within budget and go to hotels or restaurants which were more affordable. And in the end, they found a restaurant which was belonging to a 4-star hotel. So it was very expensive. The prices were very expensive there. But that was the only thing that was open. And the funny part was, during that time, there was a movie called Akali Rajam. It had beautiful songs. And there's one song in there which it goes, Sapatu etu ledu pataina padu, brother, which means there's anyway, you don't have food, so at least you can sing a song, kind of thing. So the whole bus was singing that, and it was so much fun. It was so much fun to travel with all those college boys and girls, and they were singing songs all the way, playing games. It was so much fun. But anyways, they didn't have food all day, and finally, like, no breakfast and no lunch either. It was getting evening time. And so anyway, we found this place. It was a restaurant attached to a 4-star hotel, so it was very expensive. It was not within their pocket. So they were saying, madam, that's okay, we'll go without food. Then my mother very generously actually said, I'll just pay for it. So it's my treat. And there was like a busload of people, 20, 25, 26 people. They were so thrilled. They were so happy. The other lecturer tried to talk her out of it. She's like, I'm not paying this very expensive. And my mom is like, don't worry, I'll pay for it. So she actually picked up the tab for this whole busload of people in a very expensive restaurant. And we had good food there. And there's a pictures that somebody took of us and gave us later. I still have that picture of me, like, so, like, I was like laughing, like, at the nicest, like, big wide smile. And the picture shows my mom, and my mom is kind of observing me lovingly, and she's like, kind of has this adoring look. It's my favorite picture. So that moment was actually captured. I still have that picture. So, so that's a very nice memory that I have. The other nice memory that I have is I did lot of trips this year. So the other nice memory that I have is we came back and all of us our school was offering an excursion to Bombay. So there was two excursions being offered. One set of people was going to Bombay, and the other set of people was going to Kashmir. So that's when I realized that I just did not know that these excursions are not affordable by a lot of people. My parents didn't think twice about it, not even like hardly. They just said, where do you want to go? I don't know why I chose Bombay. I should have chosen Kashmir, but in hindsight, I really enjoyed the Bombay trip. I think I had some friends going to Bombay, so I chose that. So, anyways, so we went on the Bombay trip, and it was the experience of a lifetime. It's unbelievable if I tell you what an adventure it was. So basically, we all went there by train, and before leaving, my mom gave me uh, like 80 rupees or something, which was a big amount for me. So 80 rupees, and she said, you'll need to do shopping and buy something. So in addition to, of course, they paid for the excursion, but this was my spending money. So we went to Bombay. We went there by train. It was second AC. So we rented the whole bogie, the whole the whole what do you call it, cabin, like the whole thing. The train, the whole cabin, and it's called a bogie in I think British English, I guess. So we rented the whole bogie, and there were a good number of us. There was like I think a good like 25, 30 of us, and there were 3 or 4 teachers with us. And of course, the company that was organizing the excursion was there with us too. So we occupied the whole thing. It was a blast. So each of us within our sections, and in our section, it was a co-ed section. So there were 2 boys, Ajay and Pawan. So note these names. I'm going to come to them later. So Ajay and Pawan came with us too, and they were like so feisty, and they kept us entertained. So the girls they just expected us to adjust. So Ajay and Pawan actually slept on the floor, and we all took a sleeper thing each, a berth each, and. So there were 6 girls, and then Ajay and Pawan from our class, 8 of us, and then from other sections it was only for the seventh and eighth grade actually. Seventh, eighth, yeah, only seventh and eighth, not ninth and 10th. So there was 40 of us in total, and the other people were with their sections and their grades. Everybody was in groups with their classmates. So we had a lot of fun, and this is when I just fell in love with that whole. I had been to Vishakhapatnam through train, via train. So I always liked that whole journey to Vizag, and what I like that journey to Vizag is all the paddy fields and the bridges, because it goes over the Godavari and Krishna both, and amazing, the train system, the train ride is so beautiful. But this had its own beauty. So the train ride to Bombay from Hyderabad, it goes through the Western Ghats, and it goes through all these tunnels, and pretty long. Some of those tunnels are pretty long. So what they do is, when the tunnel is when you're approaching a tunnel, they shut off all the lights in the bogie, and it's like so scary but fun, and we all make noises. And Ajay did that. He was like shutting off all the lights, and then we went through the tunnel. It was like scary but exciting. It was really, really fun. Lot of fun. So Then we reached, but what was more unique and more fun is that we didn't actually check into any hotel. So we were there for a week, and we stayed in the bogie, like on the in the train station. We just stayed in the same bogie. And so they had cut this travel company had cut a deal with the Indian Railways. So it was actually some scheme that was being sponsored by the Indian Railways. So we rented the whole bogie for a whole week. So every night, the we they would have a engine come. They would hitch it up to the bogie and they'd move it to a different platform. So suddenly at night you'd feel the bogie moving slowly and they'd move it to a different platform. Depending on which, if there was a train coming on that platform, they'd move us to a different one, an empty one. So every night we'd be on a different platform. They'd cook breakfast and dinner for us on the platform. So we literally lived on the platform for a week in the bogie, and we would have bath in that small bathroom and come toilet that was attached to the bogie. I don't know how we managed, but it was very different. It was a very unique experience that we lived in the train for the whole week, and then we'd go on excursions. So I remember this one conversation that happened in the train while we were going there. Okay, because of course, it was an overnight journey, and you'll learn so much about your classmates and about other kids. Like, you'll see them at close levels, the kind of clothes they wear and all that. So, um, so I had this. I remember this conversation where they were actually. It was actually my very close friend, who's my friend now also. So I won't take her name. So she and her cousin. Her cousin was. So it was sixth, seventh, and eighth grade actually, because her cousin was a year younger. So her cousin was also traveling, and she was sharing the same bogie, even though she was not the same class, because we knew her and she knew us. So their parents were earlier middle class, and they had over. This was the period of time in India where India started progressing as a whole, developing as a whole. People started buying their own homes or flats, and now, like I told you, when I was a kid, nobody even had a scooter. Like, the typical middle class people didn't even have a scooter. So people were buying like bikes and scooters. A few upper middle class people had started buying cars. Still, it was very, very few, but it was not like one or two in the whole school like it was when I was in elementary school. It was more people, and they still wouldn't indulge too much in restaurants or outfits or clothes, but they started, like, living in nicer homes. So this friend of mine and her cousin, who was her father's, brother, I guess. So two brothers, and they were cousins. Their parents were brothers. Their dads were brothers. Their families had just started doing fairly well. So it was kind of like new money, and it was kind of weird for me. Both the kids were trying to they're only 12, but they were trying to outdo each other in counting how wealthy they were. And it was very weird to watch, like, so one like, my friend said, oh, we have two fans in our house, and the other friend said, oh, we have three fans in our house. And then this friend goes, oh, we have two bedrooms in our house, and the other person is like, oh, we have like three bedrooms in our house. Oh, we have like, one sofa set. And then she goes, we have two sofa sets. And then I was finding that very weird, very snobbish. And they were trying to outdo each other and, prove to each other that, who had more wealth, whose dad was more wealthy. And then they asked me, like, how many rooms do you have in your home? So I counted, I was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I said, yeah, we have 13 rooms in our house. And they were like flabbergasted. They were like, really? Seriously? I was like, yeah, we have 13 rooms in our house. And they asked, like, how many fans do we have? I said, no, I don't know. We have to count. Then I counted. I said, we had some, like, 6 or 7 fans, ceiling fans. Can you imagine? Such a rarity, because back then only the bedroom used to have a ceiling fan in typical homes, like only the bedrooms did. They didn't have ACs. They didn't even have air coolers. The air coolers came a little bit when I was in high school. So I was still in middle school. It was the last year of my middle school. People had just begun to put fans in every room. So yeah, it was not that long ago when India was still not very progressive. It was still very much a developing country. So they were like pretty surprised. And then they found out that my dad had a car, and they were like, oh, you are like very wealthy and this and that. And I was like, I felt very weird, that conversation, that they were comparing all these things, things, and how much that mattered to them. Seemed to matter a lot. Their self-esteem itself seemed to depend on it. Then we went to the, of course, excursion. I remember first time I saw a planetarium. It was called Jawaharlal Nehru Planetarium in Bombay. My God, it was amazing. For a child, it was just amazing. And I'm not a big astronomy science person, I never was. But even for me, it was so fascinating. And I thought, I really missed my younger sister. Really missed her. I think she was 4 by then, but I just thought, my gosh, she would enjoy this so much if she saw it. I wanted my whole family to see it, actually. So I said, definitely we should come back here and I should show them this planetarium. For me, it was like the coolest thing. And I had this like desire to show it to them. And then the other fun excursion we did was, of course, we saw other things like beaches and all that. It was fine. But the fun excursion we did was we went to Elephanta Island to see Elephanta Caves on a ferry. It was so much fun. Then we picnicked there, and everywhere we go, we didn't go to a hotel or a restaurant. They would cook the food there. So I had my 80 rupees. So I remember that I did, oh, the shopping. We went to the fashion street there. The shopping was amazing, this street shopping. So I picked up a dress for my baby sister. And then in the Elephanta Caves, there's a Shiva idol. It's actually a 3-headed or 4-headed Shiva. And then it's a very popular idol, actually, that they sell there. So I picked up a small thing for my mother to put in the showcase. Then I picked up a purse for my mother. I picked up a wallet for my dad. I picked up handkerchiefs. Actually, I picked up a wallet for my brother, and I picked up handkerchiefs for my dad. So then we came home. Anyways, so the other thing I also remember is while we were standing for lunch in that Elephanta Caves place, I remember there were 2 very wealthy kids there. Actually, like, she was very nice, but they used to always wear nice dresses. See, until then, we were all in school uniform, so nobody knew who was wealthy, who was middle class, who was poor. Anyway, poor people didn't come to the excursion at all. It was all upper middle class or wealthy who could afford the excursion. So they used to wear very nice dresses, and the teachers were so upset at them because for wearing all these nice dresses. And I felt, poor things, like, they can't help it that they have that wealth. But the teachers felt that it was upsetting the other kids. And it was upsetting the other kids, because some teacher commented to them that when we were standing in line, they were just standing a little far away, like wanting to join the line later. And one of our teachers, I still remember the teacher's name. It was Leela teacher, 6th grade. My class teacher, actually, she said, oh, No, she was not my class teacher. She was my science teacher. My class teacher's name was Pushpa. So she said to these girls, "Oh, you think it's too below your dignity to stand in line with others?" And those two girls were like, "No, ma'am, it's nothing like that. Like we were just waiting for the crowd to clear out." So I don't know. Everybody was jealous of them dressing up well, and other kids complained that they're wearing too nice clothes. So I found out there that how much people are like conscious about money, how much difference it makes to their self-esteem, how they feel about themselves, how others view them. Seemed to make a big difference. It was strange, but I did note that actually. Um, then we came home, and of course, I gave all the gifts to my mother and father and brother and everybody. And so when I gave them, I remember my mother took it and she was so thrilled, and she told everybody, like, she put it in the showcase. And then she asked me, "What did you buy for yourself?" I said, "No, I didn't buy anything for myself." Then she felt so bad. She said, "Oh, Pichitali, I gave you that money to buy something for yourself. That was shopping for yourself." Then I said, "No, no, I didn't want. I never thought of myself. So I bought all these things, and I was really. It gave me a lot of happiness. It was very thrilling for me actually to do shopping, to buy my sister the dress and then especially that elephant thing. I remember. I don't think it's in my showcase anymore, but I don't know. But it was really nice. She put it in the showcase. So those are all the things that happened. So next time I will continue with 12.1. Okay, and no lesson here, but I enjoyed the opportunity to travel with others. And when you truly travel with others, you find out how other people live, what kind of things they give importance to. It may be like in your own bubble, you don't actually know that you're privileged. Like, I wouldn't have known I was privileged until I actually went to this excursion and saw how, even for a simple meal, when I went to the OT excursion, even for a simple meal, those students could not afford it. My mother had to, like, pay the bill. Of course, she did it happily. So yeah, it's like I keep coming back to this. That sometimes when we are privileged, we don't understand. We don't. It's very difficult to relate how being without that privilege feels like. It's very difficult to relate. But and you may not even be aware that you're living in privilege. But when you do become aware, I think, like my mother, you should share that. It gives you a lot of happiness because that it meant so much to those students when my mother gave them that treat. But other than that, but at the same time, I felt bad that those two kids who were privileged, whose father was a lawyer and one's father was a politician, they were being discriminated, or people were jealous of them. We should not have that. In life, there's always going to be people who have more than you and people who have less than you. Don't be jealous of the people who have more than you, but be giving and giving and generous to the people who have less. Always in life, there'll always be people in both the categories. And if you are privileged, understand that and appreciate that. I said that before also. So with that, I close, and I'll come back next time with 12.1, which is very interesting, big, significant event in my life. Okay, bye.